Hey, all my ladies and listeners for the Girl Power Alliance podcast. It's your host, Molly Trotter-Gomez, the growth strategist here at Girl Power Alliance, recording my very first episode solo. So, super excited to be here, the first of many episodes. And I am just so grateful and so humbled to be able to come on here and chat with you today. I have so many topics that I could talk about. I'm like, talking to the team, I said, where do I even begin? But I really want to jump in on what it means to be a faith filled woman as an entrepreneur when it comes to being your authentic self and also building your authority online. So many women I see, especially from 2020 to now in that pandemic year, and we're still getting out of it. I know when I sat down at the beginning of it, not really seeing an end in sight, and I said, God, where do you want me? Where do you have me? What do you have in store for me? And I really just laid everything at his feet because we could have our own agenda, and a lot of us do, but does that agenda align with what God has for us? Does that align with who we are, the nature of who we are? So I want to jump into the authenticity part about being a faith-filled woman as an entrepreneur. So many times when you get into the online space, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever you're at, it's so easy to get caught up on what you think people want from you. But what do you want from you? What does God want from you? Have you even prayed about that lately? I remember when I was in the news, and I should probably give a little bit of background. My backstory is I was a news anchor and reporter for about 5 years, and I got into that to really tell people's story. But when I was in there for about 2 of the 5 years, I said, "You know what? I don't think this is gonna be my forever home," because I did not align with the content they put out there, the people that were in that newsroom. It was just so toxic and so depressing, and that was not me at all. And so I knew that I was put there to gain the skills, but then I was gonna move on eventually. So now that's about 5 years behind me being in the news and being a full-time entrepreneur in the digital space. I really had to disconnect myself from the brand I built of me being in the news, of the stories that I told, how cookie cutter I became. And it was literally like, this is Molly Trotter on the news. Da, 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 da. You have that news voice, you know? And I was like, this is so not relatable. So for me to go from being polished and proper, being on the news, to being relatable and real to people through my own social media platforms, there was a huge authenticity disconnect there. And that's why I love that word and I love pressing in on it, because as a faith-filled woman, we get to be our authentic selves. We get to be who we naturally are and are called to be, because our foundation is not in this world. Our foundation is not in what Instagram and Facebook are showing us in the ads and all the popular accounts. It's in God. Our foundation should be in Jesus Christ. And I definitely know mine is. And it took me over 30 years to get to that point to be like, Lord, if with this pandemic, I said, if this world is really going to end here soon, what do you want from me? And my authentic self came out even more because I humbled myself, laid down everything, and I put it at his feet and said, Lord, what do you want from me? And I have to ask, have you done that lately? Have you done that ever? Because at the end of the day, that is so important to really press into, because that being in that space has given me so much peace and so much freedom. Because how you see Molly online is how Molly is offline, to how Molly is here on this podcast. I keep it 100 and I keep it me all day long, because that's the only way I now know how to be. I was really good at being somebody else, or being that person that I thought that people wanted to see from me, but it wasn't truly who I was. And now that I'm so fully invested of connecting my faith in my business, there's no there is absolutely no way I would ever take out my faith in business, and I would die for it, because authentically to who I am and what I'm called to, I know that God has me in a place where I am going to be persecuted for my faith, whether that's verbally, physically, who knows. But at the end of the day, we get to take that stand, and authentically, I know in my foundation that I won't waver, because I've gone through those moments of being somebody else and not truly being who Molly is, gone through the moment of laying everything at God's feet and just being like, what do you want from me? To really listening. And now getting into building the authority, which is the second part I want to go into on this, because once you become your authentic self and you're so just okay with being open and vulnerable about here's who I am, take it or leave it, then you can really build your authority to who you are. Now, when I talk about build authority, I have never really been one to build my authority about around whatever business venture I'm in. I build my authority as who Molly is, who Molly Trotter is, and now Molly Trotter-Gomez because I recently got married. But you get to build the authority around who you are. And I've taught people for a very long time. I've supported them on don't brand your business, brand yourself. Don't brand, I got this maybe social media business over here, or this cooking business, or this Etsy business, or whatever you're doing. Those might change in a couple of years, and that's okay. Give yourself permission to change. But here's the thing, if you brand yourself, you won't have to start all over when it comes to marketing, for example, because it's just who you are. And that's what I love about the power of the online space as an entrepreneur specifically is that you're giving yourself permission to start, recreate, redo however many times you want to. Because I grew up in a society where you get a job, you keep that job for as long as you can, and that's that. And you retire in that. And now you see people job hopping very often because it's a staggering percentage. 85% of people hate what they do for a living. They do not like it. They rather be anywhere else. And when I was in the news, there was parts that I liked and parts that I really didn't like. And the stuff that I really didn't like, I wasn't going to compromise and sacrifice my future legacy and family for that. So at the end of the day, being able to give yourself permission to start over, redo, however many times you need it, that's fine. Maybe you're listening to this and you're like, I've wanted to give my time to figuring out what is it going to be like to be an entrepreneur. Well, go do it. Go do it. Give it a try. You don't got to jump in with both feet and then like not have any kind of backup plan. And what do I mean by that is when I got out of my 9 to 5 job, I jumped into entrepreneurship full time and I struggled with it. I'm not going to lie because I had too much pride. I didn't want to go get another job to really be able to support and put food on the table because I wanted this to work that bad that I slept on people's couches. I had to scrounge at time for change to eat because I wanted to make it work and I didn't want to fall back on a 9 to 5. Do I recommend that to people? I don't. It was very hard. Can you get through it? Yes, you absolutely can. But I knew my authentically, like we talked about, I knew who I was in my foundation and I knew I could make it. And I definitely sacrificed having some luxuries for that because I was so focused on wanting to build my authority of Molly Trotter, but then more importantly, the Molly that God has called me to be. And building your authority doesn't mean you have to be the next Grant Cardone or Oprah Winfrey or whoever it is that you follow. There's so many people out there. How can you be the best version of you? And when you show up authentically and you help people and inspire them to do the same, you're going to be able to create a massive ripple effect. Whatever it is that you're passionate about, whatever it is that lights you up, whatever it is that comes even a little bit easier to you, there's something in there and you get to press into that. And here's the thing, you don't have to have the millions of dollars or, the hundreds of thousands of followers in order to build your authority online. I've met some amazing people who literally have 500 followers on Instagram because they're just not good at Instagram. But guess what? In their business, they've helped thousands of people and they make 8 figures, or maybe they've helped hundreds of people and make 6 figures, whatever that is. But don't let the the money in your bank account, the followers that you have dictate who you are, your foundation, and the authority that you can have in your space. Because what authority truly means is that you believe in yourself and you believe in what you do enough to show up consistently for other people to show them how to get a certain result that they're after. And you're just showing up constantly, constantly, constantly. Before Grant Cardone made all the money and built the empire he did, guess what he did? He showed up constantly, constantly. Now he's doing it still. Why? Because obviously he knows it works. You're never going to know if it works, if you're going to build an actual authority in your space until you keep showing up. And I'm not talking about showing up for a week, 2 weeks, a month. I'm talking showing up for, 6 to 12 months minimum and giving it your all and then seeing what happens from there. Because too many people give up early. And faith is honestly inside business one of your best strategies. Faith for what you know in your heart and what is hoped for, but what's not seen, right? I have never physically touched Jesus, but I know he is my savior. I know that he is the light of my life in my heart because I've had experiences with him, because I have set my time to really be able to get to know him and experience him and have him lead my life, right? And if you've had that experience, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, pray for that. Pray for the Holy Spirit to really just witness to you and to be able to reveal God's power, light, and love in your life. Because we are all way, way too hard on ourselves. And entrepreneurship, just in general, it's hard enough. But when you hear the phrase, and maybe you've heard this for the first time here today, or maybe you've heard it before, but choose your hard. Working for somebody else and having a 9 to 5, there's a cap there. You're building somebody else's dream. As an entrepreneur, you have endless possibilities and freedom to do quite literally whatever you want. There's no one right way of doing it. And so what's great about that is that you have the freedom to do what you want, but it's not going to be easy. At the end of my day, I love what I do, but I'm exhausted at the end of my day because I know I expelled every piece of me, every ounce of energy that I have to be able to give to the people that I want to serve. Because I've spent over 10 years now building my authority online as Molly Trotter, as somebody who wants to motivate, move, and inspire people, whether that's through building their own online coaching business, getting their authority and their clarity and confidence on camera through their video marketing, or whether through the Girl Power Alliance movement, helping women really become so strong and secure and combining their faith and business and growing in that in our community. I love all of those. And guess what? I had to start at one point in all of those. And there was points where I'm like, oh, should I do this? Should I not? I'm not really sure. How I could really get my foundation and authority in any piece is being able to go back to the source. And that source is Jesus Christ. That source is being in prayer, being in just my devotions, in communion with God, and just being like, Lord, what do you want from me? What are my goals aligned with your goals? Am I where you're calling me to be? Because if you have a personality like mine, very A type, and I want to take control and do all the things, God has had to humble me so many times. So for all my A types out there, you either know what it's like to be humbled or it's coming if you haven't felt it yet. And I promise you, it's not going to be an easy experience, but I had to go through that to know that God is so much bigger than me. His capacity, his love, his grace, his plans for me are so much bigger than me. But what I get to do to own who I am is authentically show up as me and also build that authority as to here's how I want to serve the world. Here's how I want to serve and give back. Because that's all really a job is, right? How do we want to give back? And then people are going to pay for it. That's really is. It's a monetary energy exchange. But how I want to serve is something so much deeper, and I want it to be a true internal life change. And then for women to know that God needs to be at the center of everything. For too long, we've been told that you have to separate faith and business. And I don't know who came up with that. Honestly, shame on that person because it should have never been that way to begin with. But I'm telling you today, I am giving you permission today that yes, faith, bringing God into your business are the best strategies you can have for your business, for your life. Stop trying to do it on your own. And what's beautiful about this movement is that if you haven't become a member yet, then what you get to look forward to when you do become a member inside GPA is to experience so many entrepreneurs, service based entrepreneurs that are giving their information, giving their life lessons, their epiphanies, their everything to help you grow in your faith, your business, to be able to 10x your faith business and your life, to really grow and bring such a supportive community of just Christ centered women. And I tell people for like the amount of money, probably a fraction of what you spend on Starbucks a month, you can be a part of this community to help pour back into you and have a community where you get poured into and you get loved on. And it's very uplifting, inspiring, and again, Christ centered. And we're literally changing the narrative to be able to not only help you in growing in your faith, but your business as well. Because I meet a lot of women that have a lot of creative ideas, but maybe they didn't come from the background of how do I put this business together? Or how do I put this plan together? How do I talk bigger and just see what's possible, what's out there? Maybe you're a mom juggling a couple kids and you want to know how you can get a business started. There's definitely resources inside of GPA to help you do that. Maybe you're already making 6 7 figures, you want to be a part of this community to really pour back into other women. There's a lot of resources and ways you can do that. Obviously, you can tell in my voice that this is something I'm very passionate about, because God has put it on our hearts, myself, Michelle, Ferris, and we're just so excited because we've done the work of being able to bring out our authentic self and be able to be an authority in our space and help women do the same, where they can really grow in their faith and business. And so, for all my entrepreneurs out there, because obviously that's what I am now, I support you. I love you. I'm praying for you. This community supports you, loves you, and prays for you, because we know what it's like. All of us founders inside of GPA, Michelle Ferris and myself, we're all entrepreneurs. So we know the ups and downs. And we do know this community is needed now more than ever, because we all wish we had this a couple years ago. And we're just so grateful that God has brought it together now. And so many women are just having breakthroughs after breakthroughs and really being able to grow into the Christ centered women that they always wanted to be in their business, in their marriages, in their home, in their friendship, as mothers, as daughters, all as wives, aunts, you name it. It goes on and on and on. And so I'm just so grateful for what God is doing inside of GPA. And I'm grateful for you that's listening right now. And so I really encourage you, if you haven't yet, become a member. Get involved, be able to put yourself in a community that's going to push you to grow and support and love you in this growing process. So thank you so much for listening. Super excited for the episodes to come, and we'll see you next time.